Okay, head back to Charleston. Grab what ships you can, grab the rest of the ships, grab the rest of the supplies, and we'll head back to powering. Okay, cryo revival facility, brilliant. Mining, cryo revival. Okay, cryo started there at all 3, with way station and mining starting at 2. Brilliant. Oh, Jesus. Damn, these orbital fusion lamps really knock down the hazard rating. 50-50. It knocked 100 off. Yeah, it's not getting its full thing. That's fine. It's getting 15. It's incredible. Really. But it's only leaving 15. It's insane. You. I don't really want to leave Ant here, but I fear if I try and take too much, I'm just not gonna have any speed. Let's find out. I can always save scum. Okay, heavy batteries have been completed at powering. I thought they were already done. Maybe because save scumming that threw it off. 62 days. Very slow. I just don't feel like leaving that over right now. Really let it pass? Could I get hit by more storms in the right direction? Okay, now I'm just losing ships. Fine. I was being cheeky. Fleet. Oh, magnificent. Okay, that's grand. There, I can move at only slightly under normal speed. I'll get there in a fine time. I was like probably halfway there, and it was saying 21 days. So yeah, I'll be grand. Okay, that's suddenly turning up quicker. It's like, oh, his fleet's moving a little faster. We should build a little sooner. I've just seen people claiming that they're teachers and telling their students not to, you should never devil's advocate. There's no point in arguing from evil. That's not what it means. Okay, let's say we have a discussion on which is better, ice cream or hot dogs. And the hot dogs is the disliked opinion. And you play devil's advocate and say it's the better one and make an argument for it. You're not arguing for evil. You may not actually even agree with that, but you're trying to, change perspective, trying to broaden the conversation. Again, this is reminding me of my English teacher, who literally taught, no, you can't have a villain protagonist. The protagonist must be a hero. While covering Macbeth. Protagonist does not mean hero, folks. In a lot of stories, the main character is a hero. In a lot of stories. The game, Overlord. The anime, Overlord. Macbeth. I've never covered it, but I know there's a vague cultural osmosis of it, so which is not the best way of judging anything. But I know. Does Count of Monte Cristo count? The main guy, does he become kind of villainous in his quest for revenge? I don't know. That's just what my gut went with. But basically, you have the main character of a tale, and they do really shit things. They're the villain. Death Note. Well, is a shit cunt. Yes, he's killing murderers, but he's only killing accused people. Some people mightn't have even been guilty. And he also says that he was working up to killing anyone he deemed lazy. Yeah. Again, he's a serial killer. They unravel and escalate. So, just normal shtick there. But he's a villain protagonist. He's the bad guy. Villain protagonist. He's the bad guy, but he's the main character. Protagonists are typically good, but aren't inherently good. it just simply protagonist simply means they're the main character of the story. There's other phrases to say that they're the second, like the antagonist. It's like DAU or antagonist, basically meaning that they're the second main character of the story. Like, they're not a secondary character. Their importance to the tale is right after the head honcho. So again, you can have a story where the protagonist is a hero. You could have it where they're an anti-hero. They're kind of grim and dark. They're doing good, but they're kind of shady or sleazy. You can have it where they're an outright villain, an anti-villain. You can have it in a variety of ways. Don't have to have a character be a hero. You don't have to. It's just the often done thing, and so people think protagonist means hero, but it's not. And it frustrates me because I felt like a complete fucking retard when the teacher had no idea what the fuck I was saying. When I tried to broach it to her the next day because I found my nerves then, she's like, oh no, that's not a thing at all. You have to be a hero if it's a protagonist. I felt a complete fucking retard. But nah, that was her. That's a fantastic price, but no. No. Epiphany? Well, I don't mind trashing there. Ooh, you. Contract terms. I'm broke. I hope I don't get copyright claimed for that. I mounted a bit of a jingle. I could. Hey folks, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, when I get agitated or whatnot, I kind of default to different sounds, mouth noises. Weird quirk of mine. But I hummed a bit of a jingle. I think it was a bit of Spanish Flea. And it's like, shit, copyright claim. And you might go, oh no, that wouldn't happen. If it would happen to anyone, it would happen to me. When I was in school before, I had difficulties settling in. It was really fucking hard. And so the teachers hated my guts over it. Later on, kids were throwing fireworks. The oldest kids in school were throwing fireworks around the place, including onto the service road for the school. Not a shit was given. Another kid threw a corpse at me. There was a dead bird out back and he hucked it at my head. Not a shit was given. Folks about 8? Yeah. Then they cared. Oy. So it's just, again, I've just constantly had that kind of double standard going on, so my gut is immediately clenched. And I would not sleep comfortable knowing that. I remember fucking up in a video a while back, and I couldn't stop panicking about it. I had to keep checking through. I fucked up in 2 videos. I took one down. I'm going to edit it soon. It's actually due out soon, maybe even tomorrow. I'll edit it soon, and I'll get it up whenever, and I'll put it in the right order in the playlist. But and then I had to check through footage of another one because I swore I made the same point in another video. And I was scanning through and I just can't find it. I may have thought about it and then transposed the thought to the footage, but I just can't find it. And it haunts me, it stresses me out when I think of it. Because I was fucking wrong. I saw an internet rumor online about something. And thinking about it, I was like, shit, that rumor, I looked into it and it was wrong, but I'd already said it. And thinking about it, was like, shit, that's kind of slanderous. Basically, someone was claiming that a certain character in the story was inspired off of the guy's wife. Fair enough, that happens. The thing is, the character was a complete shit cunt that no one in the fandom liked. But you were meant to like them. And it just made the wife out to be an absolute terrible human being, if that was the case. So I was just like, let's edit that. I did make it clear that I did. People say a lot of things. People say a lot of things. They're accusing another author of self-inserting as a character. People said that wasn't true, but I have no idea. It was a comic book author. They wrote for DC, I think. They self-inserted as a character. Well, that was the accusation. They self-inserted as a character. People say a lot of things, especially when they dislike someone, and that person gave people plenty of reason to dislike them. Reasoning being that, that would spawn the rumors, certainly. Not that it justifies it, just that it would spawn them. There was a character. They handled They did a shitty story, and then they fucked up interviews relating to it. I don't remember their name in the slightest. Keep in mind, these are two separate points. Okay. Fuck it, I'll say it. Nightwing. There were an author on Nightwing. Nightwing ends up an accomplice to a murder, which could be a fair story point, the drama to go through. And he's devastated. He breaks down on the rooftop of the building. And then the character who actually murdered the person proceeds to rape him. It's not treated as a rape in story, and in fact, in the interview, the author goes on to claim that, oh, no. Yeah, and you can feel the smugness of it, pretty much due to the follow-up sentence. I never called it rape, merely non-consensual sex. Aren't writers a stinker? They're trying to be smug and sneering that people are using the wrong word, when they basically say the word back to them, but more verbosely. And I quoted it there. It's seared into my mind, and I read it once, maybe twice. The person apologized for how badly they mishandled it. Never that they called rape non-consensual sex, but merely because they mishandled it. Then they proceed to turn around and argue that you can never say a woman has wrote a Mary Sue. That's sexist. I don't know why I faked a lisp there, or I was like twisting my tongue weirdly. I don't know why, but I think it was just to put on a mocking tone, and that's what my mouth just stumbled onto. I just kind of turned my mouth weirdly. Once I threw my jaw off to one side, and I sounded like Nixon. I just do whatever with my face, and sometimes it works. But so yeah, they're just a complete retard. Like, putting on record here, complete retard. And while they said they apologized for that, I don't. If I'm remembering it correctly, I'm probably skim-read it in my anger. They don't seem to even understand why people might have been annoyed. I don't know quite why they were annoyed. I know why I was annoyed. Because they decided it wasn't rape because it was a woman doing it to a man. And I have very little time for that kind of argument. No, I'm not saying that as a victim of that. Thankfully, I haven't been. The most that happened to me was my ass got grabbed by some chicks my age. Not great, but at the time I was more confused than anything else. So it's like, the fuck? A friend went to get his own back on him. Never did ask about how that went. Girls wore their skirts so short. If he timed it at the wrong moment, I would be surprised if he didn't get sucked up. But anyway, humor aside, I know. I just known a lot of women that decided I was their punching bag, teachers. So it just, when I see people at all trying to justify and excuse abusive things just because they're a woman, it really gets my heckles up. Yeah. It just really gets my hackles up. I've gone through shit, and I don't want anyone else to. And I don't want people justifying it. Well, it may have been fiction in this case. it still pisses me off. And it still just pisses me off, really. I don't like to say people's behavior over fiction reflects their real life stance. Like, you can, express some dark impulses. Like, I'm here, raping and pillaging. I wouldn't do it at IRL. But I've just seen far too many people take the same stance to male, real victims of abuse. They're male, so it doesn't count on IRL. The Guardian is a shit hole of a rag, but they one good article. They covered war rape in Africa, male victims of war rape, and they were saying that there were small groups over there helping them. And the UN claimed to help male and female victims, but according to one of the small groups, they turned male ones away because they weren't women. The men didn't get any help from their locals, from their kinsmen. They were told at most, take 2 aspirin and fuck off. Don't call me in the morning. And the men were so badly maimed that the doctor had gotten, that from the small org that was helping out, had gotten so used to treating them that they could tell them by sight how they held themselves, even smell. There was a distinctive odor, presumably they were rented down there. And they weren't properly they would need proper treatment. I read one account of how a guy escaped it. He'd been grievously raped repeatedly by the soldiers. He escaped, and he hid into tree lines. They didn't find him, and he managed to scurry off. And again, presumably was told to take 2 aspirin and fuck off. So it just. And on top of that, I'm sure if the characters were reversed, there would be, hell and fury, burning and gnashing of teeth. So I care a little for hypocrisy, and I don't know, it stings on too many frontiers. So yeah. I've gone through shit, other people have gone through shit, and it just seems to be an extension of this general shit stain going through other people's minds. For example, if I went to England and a chick pushed me down and raped me, it would not be rape there. It would be sexual assault. Equivalent of me going up to a chick, grabbing her tit and going honk honk. As far as I know, I'm no lawyer. But it would not be rape. Not unless she assisted a man in raping me. There is a stipulation in English law either for penis or for he. So, a trans woman who didn't get bottom surgery done may or may not be included in that. I can't quite remember, but it's. That's a side point. Wow, aren't I pissing everyone off? But yeah, the writer was a fucking tool. But I'm not. She came back years later with the second point about the Mary Sue thing, and said how she mishandled it. But again, she didn't mishandle it. She misdefined it and was incredibly smug, snide, and condescending about it. It wasn't simply that she mishandled it. She argued that it wasn't rape because a woman did it, because it was against a man. She may have not used those words, but she heavily implied it. If she implied it any more, she would have punched everyone that read the interview. So, she's a scumfuck, and I have little patience for her. Thankfully, as far as I know, she's vanished into the ether, into the wild blue yonder. So, I don't really need to dedicate any more of my life to even thinking about her. Oh, fuck. So I'm sorry. Oh, that just idiocy pisses me off. It's just like, how hard is it to get that, you know? It shouldn't be this difficult, and yet some people have such difficulty understanding it. It's more than a little perplexing. It really is. I do apologize for going on this tangent. As you can tell, it pisses me off. I don't like tangenting. I want to keep it strictly about the videos, but... But yeah, certain things haunt me about my videos at night. That I feel, I'm just scared of copyright claims in one thing or screwing up in another thing. And that's what led me into this, of just simply I had to edit that point out or make sure I hadn't said it or find it or whatever. And I couldn't find it in one case. And in the other case I found it and it's on my computer to cut out. It's been there for ages because I couldn't edit. For ages, and now I still can't edit because of lack of space. Actually, speaking of that, I've been recording for a while. I'll install this. So Postal 4, the beta? The alpha? The alpha. Just to clear up a little space. I can't remember how large of a game it is, but it should clear up a noticeable amount. But, yeah, apologies again for the tangent. That's also my intent when I sat down and recorded. But, yeah, I just went with the point about editing stuff out because I screwed up in what I was saying there. Apparently it wasn't true, and it felt like, I can't have that in it. Well, the other thing, I feel I'm talking about it from more of an academic sense. I can justify it to myself. Apparently, people are saying she self-inserted as the killer in that Nightwing story. She apparently has. I don't think she's directly refuted it, but apparently she has talked poorly about the character, which people would take as a proof that she didn't. I don't care. If she didn't, she didn't. It's no big deal to me. But, oh, actually, I'm curious. If I move this here and I hit sort, yeah, it only for this window. Okay. But, if she didn't, she didn't. It's no big deal to me. What is an issue, what is the thing to me is simply, what she said. Trying to define rape as rape of men as non-consent, of somehow trying to differentiate men being raped from rape. That's my thing. I don't give a shit, whether or not she imported as that, self-inserted as the character. I don't give a shit. That's my issue with her. And then how poorly she apologized for it. She said, as far as I remember, she apologized for poorly handling it. Not for being a smug dipshit that doesn't even understand the language she's apparently meant to be a writer in. I'm learning new English words all the time, but I don't turn around and smug and sneer about fucking rape. There are topics that are sensitive that you have to handle correctly. And when I just say correctly, I mean actually know what the fuck they are. Running off half-cocked, fine. Quarter-cocked, less so. Just, knowing what the words fucking mean is something, But, yeah, that's my issue with her. And her just generally being an idiot. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Un momento.